Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Boyz Fantasy Football Podcast, the podcast that only talks about our league. First off, I'd like to say thank you all for listening. It's been a lot of work doing these stupid video podcasts, learning editing, learning a bunch of stuff for the first time. But for the people that are watching, all 20, 30 of you, I appreciate the hell out of it. It's been honestly a lot of fun. I know it's a lot of niche stuff that I'm talking about, especially when I'm only talking about one league. I knew that going in. If you got an issue with it, I'm sorry. But that's the idea of the show, is where we only talk about our league. Today I've got a lot to go over, a lot of different things that I haven't done in the past, so let's get into it. Thank you. Vibe check. Your boy is feeling a lot better this week. I swear to God, this is not just because I won, but football was fun this week. And I think I'm not the only one that would say that, right? This is factual. 9 out of the 12 teams we have in this league scored over 100 points, 4 of which scored over 130 points, including me. That is the fun part. When you have guys, we've worked all year long, off season long, trying to find teams to score points. That's what fantasy is, right? Scoring points. And we actually got some of that this week. Not tight ends, not a lot of there still are inconsistency through a lot of players, and we'll talk about them, but the fun part is starting to happen where the good teams, and this isn't even including what my team did, Zach, Jared, and another one, Peeler, all scored over 136 points. It was a fun week to see what rosters are capable of. I thought a lot of other teams had a lot of good positional play. It was fun this week. Football was fun. The games were fun. It capped it off with an electric Monday night football game that gave us some drama in one matchup for sure, in Justin and Austin's game. Don't worry, I'm going to break down that whole thing. And it also produced the top scorers and catapulted those teams that were sitting at the 100s, maybe 90s even in Jared's case, and shot him all the way up into top score. So football is fun. That's the vibe. I do want to touch on basically critiquing myself and the pod. No one wants to hear me talk about my performance and what I thought of it. I've switched up the show every single week, right? Segments are not exactly fully clear, but me spending 15 minutes talking about basically one trade, Donald and Tyler's trade, 2 trades, but 2 situations. I spent like 15 minutes talking about that. Then spent another 20 minutes talking about my pain and suffering in the complaining corner. I failed to even talk about top teams. What are each teams consistent of? What are they made of? And I found that to be an issue. When I read this back, I'm like, so what the fuck happened in the league? Who beat who? What's the situation? Who's the best teams? If I was watching this shit and wanting to see what this league is doing, I would like to know what teams are at. So maybe not every week, but this week at the end of quarter 1, week 4 in the NFL, it's what we call Q1 in the biz. Q4 is over, so we're going to do a status check on all the teams, specifically just the top 6. We're going to talk about each of those top 6 teams, break them down, keep it short. If I see something to rant on, I'll go for it. So back to overall vibes. There was no trades this week. What's up with that? I know I was trying. I mentioned last week that we need to have some manners when you come into my house and try to make a trade. There were a couple offers that got thrown around. I thought a lot of them were a little disrespectful. But ultimately, if I'm serious about trades, I really wasn't looking to make a full-on move right there. When push got to come to shove, in all honesty, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy weren't worth a shit last week. And it would be any trade I was going to get last week would have been, I might as well have dropped them. Speaking of, me dropping 2 guys for them to immediately get picked up, not only picked up, but bid on in the waiver wire, that was annoying. That was very, very annoying. Zay, I forgot his name. I fucking hate him that much. I forgot his name. Zay something for the Raiders. I hate him so much. Zamir White, my bad. That annoyed me a little bit because I knew it. And it honestly feels good a little bit because you hold on to these guys on your bench, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate. We don't know the guy that we have on our bench that is sucking us dry. Is he worth keeping? Is it going to hurt him keep Is it going to hurt me to keep him taking up a bench roster spot? Will he get picked up right away if I drop him? We're trying to answer those questions in our head. And those things, Zamir White and Ladd McConkey, were definitely going in my head. Ladd, to me, I didn't want to get rid of him. I tried not to. But the situation with Ladd was we had a fucking Taylor, it was supposed to be a Taylor Heineke week and then a bye week. That's 2 weeks too long. Ladd hasn't shown too much, but hey, what do you know? His breakout game, he dropped 17 points. Whatever. But this show isn't all about me. And back to what I was saying, this show is not about me, and I'm going to talk about the other players, the other teams in this league. This next sentence is about me. I absolutely had to beat the shit out of Augie, and I did that. Got a lot of congrats texts this week, more so than I ever have before. Not just because everyone's just like secretly rooting because they don't want to hear me bitch, or I'm the underdog story sometimes. Whatever. I got a lot of, but man, you absolutely had to beat Augie for all that shit you talked on this. I've talked shit about him every episode. I'm going to continue to do that. His team is fucking awful, and you saw that on display and saw what I did to him. It comes down to Jordan Love. Jordan Love, absolute beast, best there ever was. 28 points in a comeback fashion to lose to the Vikings. Don't lose your fucking mind, Zach. I am aware. But Jordan Love did his thing. Garbage points are some of the best things in fantasy football. And when you're on the right side of them, it's spectacular. And basically, that's the reason I won. But is my team good? No, my team still sucks. But beating Augie was a necessary thing, and I did it. You're welcome to everybody. BP's complaining corner. All right, I had to go and do some research on what I'm about to go in and talk about right now. To be honest, I wasn't fully ready. This complaining corner is not about me. I'm going to complain as if I'm Justin, or not take his side in any way, but I am going to say that if I was him, I would be complaining. And I know he is complaining. I asked him to join. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want, my opinion here. I don't think he wants to ruin his image and come off as weak like I do every single week on Complaining Corner. I come off as a little bitch. He doesn't want to do that. He truly believes that his team is the greatest team of all time. And he isn't going to let him coming on here and showing like a little whiner, like in his words, like every person rooting against the Chiefs, just whining. All he cares about is results, and he doesn't want to make any excuses. But brother to brother, he was whining, right? That's fine. No, completely justified in that. And I don't want to put him out there, and then he doesn't want to trust him telling me stuff. I love having the conversations with my brother. The Dolphins were all that Justin had left to play. He was down by about 3 points going into Monday Night Football. Austin was completely done. He had nothing. Starts the game off. Now we're playing the Tennessee Titans, and Tennessee Titans also suck. They had Will Levis, who's been awful, and Tyler Huntley. This game had gross written all over it. We always knew it was gross. When the game starts off, it starts off with a Will Levis interception in favor of the Dolphins. Dolphins score. They get the interception points, and from there on out, Will Levis gets hurt. Mason Rudolph comes in. The ball starts to move. Tennessee gets this game underway. Tyler Huntley. That's just the game. They're up, and the game's all but over. For 3 9/10 of a quarter, Justin had been winning this fantasy matchup. Titans score prior to the fuckery puts Justin slightly up by like 0.8 points or something like that, right? And then the fuckery happens. Let me explain to you what I mean by the fuckery. A lot of us weren't watching. I know that because I was in the group chats, and the only person that mentioned anything about it was Kyle Peeler, who was watching because he had bet on the Dolphins. So Justin was watching, and the only people that were watching at this point was Justin, Peeler, and anybody that bet the under. And if you were any of those people, you feel like you got fucked. No shows, no morning programs are talking about it. You're getting this right here. You're getting this on BP's pod, the Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. We're talking about it because listen to this shit. The game was wrapped up. Titans weren't moving the ball. Only way this game was going to score any more points was for some fuckery to happen. Tyler Huntley, who sucks, scrambles. Now they're trying to make a little bit of a comeback. 2-score game. 2.5 minutes to go. He scrambles, throws a ball on the way down from getting sacked, and almost gets picked off. The ball hits the ground, skips into the Titans player, no interception. Well, they look at it a little longer. Tyler's getting pissed. Huntley's getting pissed. Like, what are they fucking talking about? What are they doing? Turns out it's intentional grounding. Where he threw the ball from happened to be in the end zone. And now that is not just intentional grounding, that's a safety. Okay? Still fine. This doesn't affect the Miami Dolphins defense fantasy points in any way. But the new kickoff rules that everybody's been so happy and lovey about came into play here. Because it was a safety, you used to get the 2 points, and now you get to kick off the ball. Still down 2 scores. Mike McDaniels and the Miami Dolphins decide that they want to go for an onside. 2 minutes left. They decide they want to go for an onside. And because of that, they take the ball at the 20-yard line, and they have a landing zone, which is different from the landing zone of a normal kickoff. It goes to onside rules. So there's a 30-yard gap that they have to onside this ball into. They kick the ball. They punt the ball, and it goes 3 yards past the 30-yard line. Titans players fair catching. So the ball bounces 3 yards past. It's a penalty. The Titans head coach didn't even know that. And the special teams coach is going completely bonkers, pissed off that the Titans guy fucked this up, that they made the wrong decision. The refs talk about it for a minute. And then, it doesn't make matters worse, the guy comes out and the head referee starts stuttering like me. Starts saying, because blah, 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 it's Titans ball, and there's a penalty that is assessed from the kickoff spot. Bottom line, Titans are getting this ball at the 10-yard line. That was so hard to explain. I understand what happened, but just like saying it's like craziest 2 minutes ever, and I couldn't believe I missed it. I was pissed that I missed it. Like I said, I wish I had money on that just so I had a little bit of like rage for this moment. So how does this equivalent to Justin losing in fantasy sports? Because the Titans got that ball at the 10-yard line, 2 minutes left, obviously they're going to run the ball, and they score. Jared gets high score because of it, and then -1 points to the defense. Boom. Justin loses to Austin. Austin pulls off an all-time comeback. The improbable, the unthinkable, needed the Miami Dolphins to suck dick against Titans offense, which was putrid. And for the most part, didn't get it done until some fuckery happened. Now, if that happened to me, I'd probably kill myself. That was one of the worst ways I've heard of losing fantasy football. And for that reason, that's why I'm talking about it on BP's Complaining Corner. I thought that is something so unique and why fantasy football is fucking awesome. Now, you compile that. Justin might think that they got the wrong call. Turns out the refs actually did get that one right. The fact that the refs were like stuttering, Titans offense was freaking out that they did that. And made it seem like they got the call wrong and that they were mad at this rookie that was fair catching the ball. He was absolutely right. That rookie is 100% justified for doing what he did, and that's what actually brought the Titans the ball. Had he caught that, fumbled it, had he caught that, nothing would have changed. The same result would have went on. But had he caught that and fumbled it, boom, now we're in the same situation as all the rest of the stuff. So, but you are still Justin in this moment. That happens on a week where you lost Rashee Rice, 0 0 points, and then that happened. And then he's completely hurt. Probably done for the season. Justin's still holding out hope. Compile that with a missed field goal Justin was obsessing with on Sunday night with Tyler Bass. He missed a field goal. Probably would have, knowing that going into Monday night, you need as much points because all you got is a defense. That 3 to 5 points that he would have gotten from that field goal would have made that defense possible, and he knew that. So he knew that that missed field goal from Tyler Bass was going to ruin him. And sure as hell it did. Compile that with Bijan Robinson being unimpressive once again. That's just nitpick. That's just piling on. I said compile, but now I'm piling on, and that's not fair. So this episode, BP's Complaining Corner, is dedicated to Justin. I feel for you, brother. That is a tough way to lose a ball game. Still got a level squad over there. I know you know that. But that's something that justifies explaining why you lost. That's the point of why we do this podcast, for these unique situations of how teams are losing and winning. Austin, for the same reason that Justin wanted to talk about it, that is an electric way to win a football game. You know, you from winning a game that you shouldn't have, and that's awesome. That's part of fantasy sports, so congrats and good on you. Gossip, quarter one is over, as I mentioned before. Status of the league. Bottom line, if you want your team discussed in this next part, you got to just be in the top 6, plain and simple. Do something that stands out. That's how you get yourself talked about on this pod. So if you want to be talked about, that's how you do it. You could be putrid like Augie's team. Augie's gonna get a lot from you this year because I've picked on him from the beginning, and it's turning out that his team still sucks dick. And now I'm gonna continue to shed light to that. People need to know that how inconsistent he's been at fantasy football. He's had some early wins in this league, and since then, he has put together some of the most pathetic fucking things that I've ever seen out of the fantasy football sport, and I'm actually embarrassed to have him in our league sometimes. All right, Zach's team, number 1 team in the league, for a good reason. I've talked about him many times on this pod before. Chubb Up and Adams, yes, the team name needs to be changed. That's about the only thing on this team that needs some work. He's pretty much loaded. Even when he's got Jordan Mason and Christian McCaffrey down, he hasn't skipped a beat because of the stellar work that he's done on picking up handcuffs. Handcuffs are so important, and Zach is fully proof of it. He's got Jerome Ford and Jordan Mason in his lineups, who are both handcuffs due to injury to top running backs. And then also has those guys once they do come back. Nick Chubb's nearing coming back. I think probably about week 6 or 7, they'll roll him out. I don't know. Christian McCaffrey could be a little bit further. But honestly, Jordan Mason's giving such good production, and his team, the rest of his team's such a stud. I wouldn't worry about it. The rest of the team really boils down to Amon-Ra St. Brown's finally giving him the points that he wants. He's got it goes on and on. Malik Neighbors, even the guys on his bench are balling. Khalil Shakir. Jordan Addison had a huge week. Jaden Reed had another huge week. Mike Evans, consistency. I am, without a doubt, always impressed with what he continues to do. He has yet to lose four games straight. It's impressive, and you gotta take your hats off. Right now, I don't even know what it will take to knock him off the pedestal, but right now he's rolling, and he's been in the top scoring category talks every single week. We'll probably continue to roll. Next up, second-ranked team, we have Braden's team. He's honestly, the last 2 weeks hasn't done a whole lot scoring-wise, but has found a way to pull out wins. He's still 4-0. The duo that is Josh Allen and James Cook seem to come back down to earth. Both of those guys dropped only, what is that? They combined for 13 points. That's rough. Josh Allen isn't going to do that often. And if you're able to win in the Josh Allen weeks where he doesn't score 30, that's a great recipe for winning. Rashad White looks to be back just a little bit. Overall, his lineup is still good. Devontae Adams could be getting even that person could be better if this trade goes down. One thing I do want to give credit to on Braden's team this week was his work on the waiver wire and what he did to fill in a couple injuries. Devontae Adams did not play. Immediately he goes in and picks up Trey Tucker, drops 16 points. 15.4. He played Wan'Dale Robinson on a Thursday Night Football, knowing he had to fill a spot, fill a bench need, and fill a flex start. Executes it perfectly. Just solid start sits by Braden. Solid defense kicker. Braden's a solid player in this league. He deserves a little bit of credit on his name. Team number 3, Kyle Peeler. Kyle's been the ultimate trending upwards guy, and he faced a little adversity with Tua going down. Had to immediately replace his quarterback, and Tyreek Hill's obviously not the same guy. Justin Jefferson did his thing. Dude was right there, 136 points this week. I think he's got a lot of studs. The Dallas Goedert thing, boom or bust. Overall, I think Peeler's team's going to be right there in the end unless he blows it to smithereens and decides to trade Tyreek Hill for a bag of cookies. I think he's getting over his shit. If you are in the mood to go and try to get Tyreek Hill, you should hit Peeler up because I'm sure he's listening. Team number 4 is Austin, 3-1. Very, very easily, if you listen to BP's Complaining Corner, very, very easily could have been 2-2. But here we are. Not going to apologize, right, Austin? Talked about it last week. Came on the pod for being top scorer. His team is coming into form, but the guy that is killing him right now is Caleb Williams. Dude, we got to stop with the Caleb Williams. There are better options on the waiver wire week in, week out. I don't know if you're going to make any moves this week. We'll see what you do in the waiver wire. But the Caleb Williams thing, and I'm a huge Caleb Williams guy, he is not a fantasy quarterback yet. It's going to take a minute. You can bench him. You can put him on your bench, but it is painful. And I'm wondering what the thinking is with Caleb Williams. He's a dynasty guy. He should be on every dynasty roster that there is, but I don't know. Let's see his percent rostered. Percent rostered is 56% in NFL leagues. So, I mean, I'm not too far off. It's just a weird thing to see a team like yours not really get it. You know, like he's not played well. He's again another week where he's put up 11 points this week. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, those guys are going to be your workhorses. This was the first week it looked like it. This was fuck yeah. These are the guys I drafted. Wide receivers took a step back a little bit. I think Zay Flowers, you got to be done with him. I mean, don't bench him, put him on. But I'm sorry, don't drop him. But definitely a bench. I think other guys are a little bit more consistent for you. And Zay Flowers, I'm sick of his shit. Don't listen to me, though. 5th ranked team, we have Jared. He comes on Feelin Myself at the end of this episode. Overall, we talk about his team. This week, he's absolutely fucked. He's got higher team on buys. His current lineup, as I record this podcast, is Jaleel McLaughlin, and a running back that he picks up off of the waiver wire. So it's going to be ugly, but who cares? Right now, he is 2-2. Jared's probably not where he wants to be right now, but I think his team is solid. He's got the big running back duo that you love to see in a team, Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley. His wide receivers, weird, but once he gets A.J. Brown back, it looks like a team that can make a run. But he does still need to figure out. He needs to get something going to where it's like a solidified guy that's not getting wavered or moved. Is Christian Kirk, JSN, Michael Pittman. Which one of those guys is really going to step up for him? Moving on to the 6th ranked team, sitting at 2-2, we have Justin. Took a tough loss. You guys heard about it on BP's Complaining Corner. The crux of his team right now is, and I hope crux is a good thing, but Jaden Daniels is an absolute star in the making. He's already a star. He's not in the making at all. He is an absolute bona fide fantasy star. He gets you rushing yards. He is everything that Lamar Jackson is. And we honestly don't even know his ceiling yet. We don't know his roof. We don't know his floor. Jaden Daniels is off to an incredible run. Guys like Jaden Daniels are how you win fantasy football leagues, and Justin's got one. Justin's team is literally just the ultimate I'm good at fantasy football roster. He's got Chuba Hubbard in there, which nobody fucking wanted. Deontay Johnson, nobody wanted him. He's still struggling with the guys like Jalen Waddle and Jameson Williams, big boomer bust guy. Patrick Mahomes would be killing him. My point about Justin's team is if I had those same players, I don't know how I would do it. I would not be successful with Justin's players. Justin is. Justin finds a way. He's like the Chiefs. Finds a way, even though he's 2-2. Now he's 2-2. I will say. But a couple of tough losses. He hasn't really had just a super bad week where it's like, what the fuck is going to go on with Justin's team? He makes the right start sits almost consistently every single week. And ultimate credit to him. He's a hell of a fantasy manager and deserves a credit. Bijan, got to figure it out, dude. Got to figure it out. Tyler Algier, maybe it wasn't. What was the fucking guy's name? Arthur Smith. Maybe it wasn't Arthur Smith. What is going on? How do you get no touches in the second half? Like 2 or 3 touches in the second half. It's crazy. I don't know what the situation is. Arthur Blank, I don't know what it is. But that guy should be getting the ball way more, and he's not. But yeah, looking forward. Rashee Rice, not on the IR yet. Let's check this designation. Isaiah Pacheco definitely on the IR. Rashee Rice is out. Has not been placed on IR. I don't know what it is, but to me, that thing looked shattered. So I don't know really what's going to happen, but to me, that's crazy that Justin went all in on his Chiefs and drafted all his fantasy guys as Chiefs players, and he's continued to get Pacheco hurt, Rashee Rice, and even fucking Patrick. How do you like the Chiefs if you're Justin? How do you even still like them? They're fucking you over, honestly. Anyways, team number 6. Congrats to Justin, and that is it with the rankings. Smash or give pass. We're still under the gossip segment. The only one I have for us, guys, is Garrett Wilson. It's time to have the conversation about Garrett Wilson. To me, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, if I'm the Jets, you're in all-in mode. You've got to make this thing work. Jets are going to be fine. I think they did lose to the Broncos, but that game was kind of a weather game. Still at home, still no excuses. But if I'm them, I've got to make a move for Devonta Adams here, and then maybe even give him Garrett Wilson or Hassan Reddick. Just make something happen. Get Garrett Wilson out of there, or bring in Devonta Adams. Garrett Wilson, 4 games in, I'm smashing the panic button. Get whatever you're able to for Garrett Wilson, and you're honestly not going to get very much. He's first-round value, and honestly, this is on us once again. 2 years in a row, he was drafted as a first-rounder, drafted to be the guy that Aaron Rodgers turned Devonta Adams into. Maybe he's just not that guy. He's had 12 points, 10 points, 14 points, 7 points. The problem is that he's successful in Jets receiver terms. Through his first 3 seasons, he has led the Jets all-time franchise record in receptions and yards. Crazy, right? That's how bad the Jets are. Through the first 3 games of any Jets player's career. But he is a failure by fantasy terms. If you watch the film, he's good. He's not dropping balls. He still makes big plays, but he's not giving you number 1 fantasy receiver production. And I think Aaron Rodgers knows it. I think something's not clicking. Something's not working here. Any team, once again, that has drafted Garrett Wilson is a struggling fantasy football team. Last year it was Peeler. This week it's Augie, and Augie's team stinks. And it's because of Garrett Wilson being his top paid player on that football team. Zach start of the week. Only got 2 for you guys. Dakota starting DeAndre Swift. I get it. I've been hurt too. I've cut guys for the way that they've made me feel. And the way that DeAndre Swift did the first 3 weeks, I wouldn't have started him either. But it still needs to be talked about because 29.5 points on your bench when you lose a close game, I want to say it gets you closer. I still think you lose your matchup, but sitting DeAndre Swift. The only thing you got to feel good with on a Tuesday is that you stood for something. You stood for something. The only thing you got to feel good about when it comes to DeAndre Swift right now is that you sat him to stand for something, and you proved a point, and that got him to play. What do you do with him this week? I don't know. Do you just make him prove it to you again? But 29.5 points definitely seems like an outlier. I still don't trust that offensive line. I don't know. I'd probably do it again, but just be aware that it's a risk. If anybody that drops 30 points is getting on Zach starts of the week, I'm sorry about it. Austin, starting Zay Flowers over George Pickens. Got to be the final straw with Zay Flowers. The guy's had one game where he's done well, and the rest he's been bad. He's a number one receiver that doesn't play like it. He's one of the worst number one receivers, if not the worst bona fide number one receiver on a football team. The only other worst fantasy football player, worse than Zay Flowers as a number one, and he's not a number one, and he's proves time and time again that he's not a number one, is Brandon Ayuk. That guy fucking stinks. And this is why I was talking shit all offseason, not just because he's a Niner. Brandon Ayuk fucking sucks. I don't give a fuck that he didn't play preseason and it's hurting Brock Purdy. They played all fucking year long with each other last year, and there's no reason why Brandon Ayuk shouldn't be balling right now. Guess why? He got his money, and he fucking committed robbery, and now he's on to bigger and better things. He doesn't give a fuck that he's robbing the 49ers. For me, I don't give a fuck that he's robbing the 49ers. Good on him. Good on him. Rob them for all they're worth. The Niners are a tragic franchise that haven't won a fucking Super Bowl since the 90s, and they deserve what Brandon Ayuk did for them. They deserve it. I'm not exactly sure if they paid Trent yet, but I hope that they can't afford Trent now because of what they did with Brandon Ayuk. I hope he continues to suck. Nothing makes me happier than watching Brandon Ayuk suck. And I'm so glad that I don't have him on any of my fantasy teams so I can watch from afar and not have to feel the pain that any Brandon Ayuk owner has. Speaking of Brandon Ayuk owner, isn't that Dakota as well? Poor guy. Finish up the episode. I bring on Jared, his first solo appearance on the podcast. Top scorer of the week, 139.7 points. I don't have that directly in front of me, but it will be on the next segment. Don't worry. A Tony Pollard touchdown gave Jared the top score on Monday night. It was pretty electric. It was electric to watch Monday Night Football and have so much mean something and matter. Team went absolutely bonkers. Monday night brought Jared 51.7 points between Gibbs, JSN, Tony P. I bring them on. We talk about it. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode. Like, subscribe. Got any ideas, questions, comments? Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up over text. Whatever you guys want to see, let me know. Thank you. All right. Welcome on, Jared. First time of the year. Top score. 141.9 points. How the hell you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. It felt good. I will say, going into Monday night, I had zero expectation of getting the high score for the week. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone kind of had you out of it. I actually already had Peeler scheduled because I know Peeler's a busy guy. I got to get on a schedule early, otherwise he'll hit me with the 5 to 6 business days.
To he was
get
already slotted, huh?
So I already slotted him in, and I'm sure he was just as happy as anybody else to see you win because he didn't want to come on. But anyways, this isn't about Kyle Peeler. This is about Jared. You got 51.7. To allude to what you were just saying, you got 51.7 points on Monday night.
Wow, that.
And that's just from three guys, right? Pollard, JSN, and Tony P.
Yep. And that's high score with a goose egg sitting at tight end, too.
Absolute goose egg. Don't worry, we'll get there. That last, just how we got here, you were still out of it for the most part. Jared, Zach kind of came into the picture of being high score, and then you took over, and then it went right back to Zach, and then it went right back to you. The main thing there at the end was Tony Pollard with a crazy way of getting even another touch. That game was over, and he ended up getting that late touchdown, and it was over. It was a wrap for you.
Oh, see, I wasn't aware of that. I knew we were close, but
You weren't
all I needed
watching the
was like
games?
one. It was like the one reception from JSN or something like that on the final drive to get put me
Oh,
like 1 point over.
oh, was it the JSN final
I think
catch?
so because we were going back and forth because who was it? Amon Ra got that touchdown late in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter, and then JSN caught like one pass on their final drive.
It was electric between both games. Like it was what you want to see out of a Monday night. I know you were diligently watching every single bit of it. Super impressed with how much work you've done this year watching the games. You know,
Man, I'm glad that's what it looks like.
Do you want to talk about that real quick? So you've taken a lot of heat, obviously. Mostly from me. It's not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say from
actually,
who?
actually, just me.
Yeah, it's cool to get reference.
You caught me
in every podcast, but
yeah, it's. I think what it is it comes down to it just being frustrating that we are trying and caring so much, and not that you don't care. Yeah, I will always give you the credit that you care much about this league, and why you're always going to be a part of it. It's just the fact of like you're relying on a computer database to make all your decisions versus somebody just like me making decisions. And there's no wrong or right way. I actually prefer your way. I would love to learn and you show me your ways, but I think it's just a disconnect in how we all else play the game.
yeah, I'm just a numbers guy at heart, I guess.
Show me the data.
And stuff like that just really talk to me.
Do you ever have a hunch towards a player, like based on like what you like coaching or the way you watch him play? Do you ever make a decision off of that, or
Yeah,
are you just straight like projections, rankings, and maybe you're actually onto something?
Yeah, there's people that I'll stay away from, even if they're like if they're players that are highly ranked, but they're on an abysmal team. I'll stay away from those. I kind of lean more towards the high caliber offenses and good quarterbacks. I don't really care too much about coaching. I mean, I do love the Lions coach, so that's why I kind of grab Gibbs. I love every Lions player, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you are all in on the Lions. Yeah. All right, so let's get to your team. I mean, this week you had a good week, but I mean, like we just were talking about, you were at like 90 points with 3 players left to go. Those were your studs, but you didn't have an all-out insane great week from the rest of your guys. But everyone was consistent. Your bench had a good day. I don't really even know where to take it. Let's start off. Kyle Pitts. What the fuck are we doing there? You got to cut him, right? Are we done?
I don't know. The problem is like, who do you replace him with? And I might just end up on the tight end carousel. That might end up being where it goes.
That's I think exactly where the Mark Andrews owner's at, and a lot of guys. I mean, Travis Kelce was low key there before this last week, and Kyle Pitts had one good game. He's back to the tight ends are so bad this year. Might as well just suck it up. Well, might as well just suck with him in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, this game was kind of interesting because it was the blockbuster trade, right? So it was kind of fun to see how the players I traded away would play against me. And God, it hurt to see K-Dub put up 33 points on me.
Yeah, he sure did.
What he's capable of.
Yeah, and that's why the Charbonnet owners are like that. Kenny Walker is a stud, and you didn't get back that number 1 running back in a trade. But the guys you got, Tony Pollard.
I started one of them.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah. I left Pittman on the bench, but.
What was the other one? Oh, AJ Brown. So you haven't fully like met your potential on what that trade meant.
Yeah.
But you ended up just shoving it up his ass with it.
Kenneth Walker to get a hat trick, man.
Yeah, hat tricks hurt. and you still would have had like Saquon, Gibbs, and Kenneth Walker. Like you would have been high score without
Right.
that trade.
That's kind of what was running through my head too when I was just running some numbers. I was like, man, I would have like the only person I started from that trade was Tony Pollard, and I could have gotten another, wouldn't have mattered, but another 17 points or whatever it was.
Who do you got this week?
I've got.
You are facing Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler is on a skid. He is on a skid, and that is a easy week. I seen your week, dude. It's rough. You have to pick somebody up off the waivers and start him. You have no other options.
It's a bye week, dude. It's a bye week.
I mean, you could play Antonio. You could play Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman in your lineup. That's gross. But like you said, it's a bye week, and I've honestly thought about this strategy for a very long time. Why don't I just try to get all my players on the same bye week? So then I just get out of the week instead of just hurting myself week after week. It's 1 week. I get fucked. I lose. I move on.
And it's not terrible now that I look at it. Just outside of my running backs, I have Jaleel McLaughlin.
It's pretty bad, dude.
And
it's pretty bad. Back. If you can figure out to pull out a win, I mean, that is an all-time meltdown from Tyler. There's zero reason why Tyler, fully strong, fully healthy, outside Laporta and Devontae Smith, I mean, I don't know. There's no way he should be losing this game. So, but hey, you got $50 for top score. You'll probably be there again. You're feeling pretty good about your team this year? Are we looking to make moves, make trades?
I'm always open to make some trades, but I do feel pretty good about my team. I got my strong running backs. That's kind of my core that I built it around. I'm kind of figuring out my wide receivers.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that. So you were down to make a trade, and we could talk about it if you want, but. Essentially, the crux of it was Breece Hall and Saquon Barkley were in a swap, but what the real decision is over these other guys, right?
Yeah,
we were both assuming Breece Hall, Saquon 1-for-1. I still believe that to be the case. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Now,
a little bit of upside to Barkley.
Sunday, you decide to text me, and what did you say? What did you tell me?
I said. Offer is no longer on the table or something along those lines.
As I'm battling to win the game, we're both battling to win our games, and like we're just like, so that was based on you seeing Breece Hall throw a shitty game. He was still negative points at halftime. Yeah. And you wanted to talk shit.
Yeah, that's all it was, man.
I would have
had a couple beers and I felt a little frisky, so
and you apologize. Yeah, but like Saquon wasn't doing all that. Like he had 12 points. It wasn't crazy.
That's true.
But I would rather have Saquon over Breece right now. But I'm not. I've told you, dude. I'm stuck with him. He's my guy, and he's still good. So I need the Jets to be better. But anyways, I think we're at 10. That's where I've been cutting them off. Okay. Thank you, sir. Best of luck to you on the rest of the season.
Later, man.
All right, later.